Welcome to my bewitching podcast, where I take you on a journey to initiate you into the mysteries and pleasures of all things magical and more. I'm Julie Nelson, Rich Witch, botanical perfumer, astrologer, and creator of the Fragrant Oracle. I'll discuss a myriad of topics passionately on women rising unapologetically, witchcraft, including spells, rituals, insightful astrology updates, and oracle card readings. I'll also introduce you to special guests who share their bountiful knowledge and experience in the art of witchcraft, the intuitive and healing arts, and being wildly unapologetic. Hello and welcome back to the Rich Witch Julie podcast. And today I have a beautiful, I'm going to say friend now because we've known each other for a little while, from our school communities, Diana Pequeno, and I trust that I have said that correctly, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Diana.
Yes, you have.
Oh, fabulous. So before we get started, we are going to have a conversation about women rising in the winds of change like the phoenix.
Yes.
It's going to be really good. I'm feeling really good about this. However, let's have Diana introduce herself, and then we can get stuck into this juicy conversation.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Jolie, for inviting me on to this amazing podcast to have this most powerful conversation with you. My name is Diana Pequeno. I am a conscious creator and a brand architect. I am a personal and business mindset mentor, guiding fellow conscious creators to clarity, alignment, and flow. And what that pretty much means, more simplistically, is that I believe everyone should live a life and have a business, if you have a business, that you don't need a vacation from. So I borrow all the tools of alignment and awareness and self-development, and we create clarity around whatever it is that you're trying to build so you can truly live a most impactful, spiritual, and loving lifestyle.
Sounds beautiful. And I will pop Diana's contact details in the show notes because I have no doubt that you will want to connect with her after this. And so where should we start, Diana? I mean, this is a big topic, and I know that we're both all about women rising unapologetically,
Yes.
um, and being in their truth. And I feel that more and more women are coming into their own, and they have been for decades, to be honest with you, but there seems to be a faster movement in that happening, especially the last couple of years, because I felt it slowed down for a while because patriarchal was pushing back. And now I am hearing a lot more women that I'm around, whether it be socially, online, close friends, talking about this because it's a subject that I like to often bring up into conversations. And I guess for me, where where do you see this? What are your thoughts on it? And we can roll on from there and just see what comes up for us in this conversation. And perhaps we both have a similar outlook from my understanding on life and what life should be for us or how we can move forward in life. and how our businesses can actually support that as well. So I'm going to hand
Yes.
it over to you.
Thank you. I agree. We are in a season, in a time where, in a lot of places and spaces, I even feel like we're going backwards in a sense, where
Mm-hmm.
women have worked so hard for so long, whether it be growing up, discovering her voice, discovering her inner power, finding her light within, growing into that essence, and then somehow possibly finding herself in a loop again on how to navigate and hold on to that power unapologetically, as you always like to say. And I just love that we should continue to put ourselves in circles of women who we can have conversations like this that breathe life and the flame back into us when we are feeling when we're not feeling rooted or grounded or uncertain, because we are in such a wind of change
Mm-hmm.
that can carry us forward or cause us to fall back. And I'm all for carrying carrying forward, blowing forward like the wind, like a tornado.
I love, 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 love that. And you said that you feel like it's going backward, and I have felt that. There's been a lot of stuff going on around the world that has perhaps where people have, I'm trying to think of the word, I'm using my hand, restricted, retracted,
Yes.
of uncertainty, fear, and not knowing what way to step forward or what direction to go in. And this, I think, is where, as you said, surrounding ourselves and aligning ourselves with the people, the women that want to move forward. They want to fly, they want to, you know, get caught in that wind and fly and move forward and move up.
Yes.
And and there's so much that has been created to put fear into us that I feel that it's really important for us to focus on ourselves first. I want to change the world, and I know I can't do it on my
Mhm.
own. And I know there are so many women and men out there that wish to do that. And we know that with self work, it's always about coming back to the self, doing the work with ourselves so that we are stronger and we carry that essence of confidence and unapologeticness, and we're ready to create those winds of change where they can't go back. They can't be held back. They can't be crushed because through different seasons, phases, over time, women they they start to rise and then they get squashed down, and there's
Mm.
many different reasons why and things that come up that women are told they're hysterical. I mean, in the 50s, that's what it was,
Mhm.
the 40s, 50s.
Yes.
Now they have ADHD, and I'm not saying that they don't, but I feel it's another way for women to stop focusing on growth necessarily, but more about, oh, there's something the matter with me. What's going on? And
Mm.
it's a self-focus that is not helpful. So before I say anything else, I'm not here to say any woman doesn't have ADHD. I feel that I can't say what it's like in other countries, but I really feel it's overprescribed here in Australia. And I feel that women aren't being educated or taught that we go through so many phases ourselves, within our body, within our cycles in life, that our hormones and
Yes.
what's going on externally, that it's no wonder that there is that. I'm not going to say it is ADHD, but we get overwhelmed and anxious and fearful and confused, and who wouldn't in these times,
Mhm.
to be honest? So please don't feel that I'm attacking that. I just don't personally believe that every woman diagnosed here in Australia has it. I think it's more a distraction, and I also feel that it's pharmaceutically controlled. And I don't. I absolutely know that there are places for pharmaceuticals, because my daughter would be not have survived without certain things when she was born. It's more about taking charge of our own life with our own decisions and looking at what we have around us, the people we have around us, to build that inner strength, to accept ourselves for who we are and not try to fix it,
Yes.
rather than what are the gifts that we have that we can use
Yes.
to break through all the bullshit.
Absolutely. So I agree with so much of what you said. First of all, I was listening to what you just mentioned, and I'm looking at your background and the roses, and it reminds me of maybe it was a something that was written that I had read, but it talked about environment. The
Mm,
environment in a rose, you don't blame the rose for wilting. You address the soil, you address the environment. We as women are such nurturers.
hmm.
I grew up, maybe you perhaps grew up in the same way, that I put everybody else before me.
That
I
was
was
what we were
always
taught to do. Sorry, I didn't
yes,
mean to interrupt,
for
but that was.
generation. Yeah,
Mm,
definitely for generations to put everybody first.
mm,
And I have learned, and it was a struggle to shift my mindset and become okay, give myself permissions to say, you know what? How about me first this
mm,
time?
mm,
It's not selfish, it's self-love, it's self-care. And I know that it's difficult. I speak from experience how difficult it is to try to put my foot down and say, no, me first. I
mhm.
can, once I am 100%, then I can do better for you. And I think that more women should recognize that they are number one. They're top priority, and create rituals and new habits around pouring back into your own cup. And then,
Mm.
as I always say, everyone else gets the overflow.
And that's exactly how I feel. And the reason that I have come to that is through trauma
Mm,
and abuse. And it's like, oh no, this is not going to happen anymore. This is about me. And as a mother, with a child that was born with two life-threatening conditions, of course, we put ourselves at the very end of the line. And it's a tricky one, because it's all about survival.
mm,
And what I didn't do, what I was never taught to do, was take care of myself as well. So that when she was an older teenager, around 18 or 19, I fell apart. I literally fell apart.
I can
And
imagine.
it was huge, 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 huge. And I'm not saying like that's quite a unique situation. It's not the same as everyday life, having healthy children, and you can, make or have the opportunity to, you've got more decisions and you have more choices in some areas. We always have choice. And I often speak about this with women, saying it's so important to nourish and nurture yourself so that we are then able to do that for others. But we have to do it for ourselves first. Whereas in our patriarchal systems and society, and keep in mind, I'm not necessarily talking about men alone because there are a lot of women that have that very patriarchal mindset and way of being. It's a system,
Yes.
that it is a system, and that we are supposed to put everybody else first. That's what has been drummed into us over forever, perhaps. Well, not
Mhm.
forever, because matriarchy was a big thing, and in some cultures, women have walked beside
Yes.
men, so to speak. I know in ancient Egyptian, they did. The women didn't walk behind. There wasn't that thing like we have with the royal family where everybody walks behind the queen. I mean, it actually ugh, boils
Mm.
my blood when I see all of this, because it's not teaching us. We're all equal, we're all one,
Yes.
and we are connected to everything as everything is connected to us.
Absolutely.
And I think, or I feel, I believe that the more we can speak about this in our communities, on podcasts, wherever we can, bringing women together, we can inspire each other. And as you said, like cheer each other on, fuel each other up. I can't remember your words. It's so important. And there are also a lot of men out there that don't know their place anymore because they've been brought up where women have often been the ones that have done things for them.
Mm.
And I've heard men say this where they're not really sure what to do. And I've always said, there's no way I'm ever going to get into another relationship
Mm.
if my partner wants me to be a mother, a lover, a sister, and a friend. It's like, fuck off. It's just not going to
Yes.
happen, because that's often the dynamics that come in. And
Yes.
then as women, we go so easily into that role of nurturing, being the mother archetype.
Hmm.
And then it's hard to switch.
Yes.
It's hard to switch into the other roles that we're expected to play out in a relationship.
Yes. You're so right. The system, this program has been embedded in us for so long that it almost feels like this is the way it's always been. This is, the erasing of the history. But if we go back far enough and we do the work and we understand, we all are interconnected. And there
Mm,
is not one role for one person versus another. It's unity. There's divine masculine, divine feminine, and we both carry that within us. At times, I feel I'm more on the masculine side, and other
mm,
times, I'm definitely in my feminine. And I think the man absolutely has that too, but it's not, unfortunately, focused on or shared with enough. And it puts, going back to what you said, how women have this ADHD, we fall into this hyper focus on
mm,
because it's been embedded in us to do the thing. We try to do all of the things. I've been trying to be superwoman for as long
mm,
as I can remember.
mm.
And I realize I'm not immortal. I have my days where I get sick too, and as much as I believe I'm resilient and I'll carry on, there's some days I think, well, today's not the day.
Exactly.
I need another nap, and
Mm,
that's okay. But there's also power, I believe, in recognizing that we don't have to do it all. We're not supposed to do it all.
no.
There's going to be days where we're not supposed to carry the weight of the world. Doing the best that we can every day is all that's needed. And going back to that self-love,
Mm,
nurturing, but also nurturing ourselves first.
Mm,
and connecting and uniting, locking arms with women who remind us of that. For so
mm.
long, when I also went through traumatic relationships and domestic violence, or my spirit felt broken because all of the words that I endured. And sometimes emotional pain stays with you longer than physical pain.
It does.
You can heal from a bruise, but the repeated words, and at some point, perhaps we start to believe it and question our authority, our position, our feminism. But it's good to have somebody to remind you that it's okay. We all have those days that we feel like that. And
Yes.
we can get back and we can light the fire again and rise like the phoenix, as this conversation is about.
Mm-hmm.
It's conversations like this, I think, that can help women continue to flourish and grow.
I agree, absolutely. And there's a couple of things that are really important for me, and I've brought them up in our communities. First of all, we always have choice, and we have been programmed to believe that isn't the truth, but it is the truth. And before you make decisions and rushing in, I'm such a nurturer that I'll rush in and say yes before anything else. And then I sit back and think, oh my gosh, do I have the energy to do this? So I've
Mm,
learned to pause and reflect and say to people, I'll come back to you because I have to go within to go, do I actually have the capacity to spend this energy right at this point? Um, so remember that you have choice and to pause and take a breath and come back. And even if it's like having a conversation with somebody else about it, saying, I really wanted to support this person or this cause or whatever it may be, but I just don't know if I've got the energy to do it. And sometimes speaking it to another person, I know for me that helps me to process and it
mm,
helps me to, like, I hear my words out loud. And so therefore it's like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't right. Or, yeah, I think I can do this, but I will have some boundaries around it.
absolutely.
And yeah, and boundaries is another thing because I never used to have them, and now I'm just getting better and better. And also that it is okay to say no.
Yes, I was just thinking that there is power in saying no. It took me so long to be okay with saying no, that I was going to disappoint somebody, that what were they going to think of me? I'm always there for them. But that was the thing. I was always there for them. I made everybody else's urgency my emergency.
Mhm.
And it set me back. It kept me down. And then when I couldn't show up in the way that fixed their situation, I blamed myself, or I felt that they were disappointed because they wanted me to save the day and
Mhm.
I couldn't do it. So absolutely, the power to say no. It's so freeing.
It is, and it's not selfish. It is not wrong. And it's about a word that just really popped in screaming in my mind was discernment.
Mm,
Being discerning with your decisions. And my daughter has often said this to me because she sees me get burnt out or get taken advantage of. And she always often says to me, Mum, you need to be more discerning, you know. And she's now like well, she always has been my teacher, but it's great because she actually gets quite tough with me sometimes. So it's been a big learning curve. And I hear her because, you know, when we're that close, we see each other. And she has fantastic boundaries. It's amazing. but and which I taught her to have, interestingly enough, and I love it. Sometimes it can be hurtful when people set their boundaries and say no to you. And if we respond to that in a way of, oh, well, that wasn't very nice. It's not that it's not nice at all. I stand back and go, why am I triggered about that? What is it within me that I need to work with? And really, it's like they're speaking the truth, and I just haven't owned the truth
Mhm.
because we're learning constantly. I'm a pretty confident, empowered, unapologetic woman, but I still fuck it up. I still fall down. I still can push myself too much. And it is just so important. So I've got those three words like we always have the power of choice. And even if it's hard, take a deep breath and know that you're doing the right thing for yourself. Number one, you are number one. And discernment, it's a word that I'm still working with, but I'm really good at it these days.
Mhm.
Um, Boundaries,
Boundaries.
no. It's like, no. But you don't have to say it in such a way. I'm just emphasizing that it's more like, you know,
Yes. I had a
sometimes.
conversation with somebody. She said, how do you do that? How do you say no and not feel bad? And I said, it came with practice. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to say no. Say, as an example, someone invites you out for lunch. They really want you to attend this birthday party, a personal event. And as much as you always are there for them, either you don't want to go, which is okay. It should be okay. You're
Mm,
not able to attend. You have other obligations. I tell them, thank you for inviting me. I'm not going to be able to make it. However, if you're free next week, maybe I can celebrate you then. We can find
beautiful.
a time to celebrate. And I shift it instead of saying, no, I can't. Thank you for the invitation. That's not going to work with my schedule. However, and then I offer a second option or a second solution. So it doesn't come across as rejection. But again,
Hmm.
also keeping in mind, is this an obligation I'm going to be able to follow through with? Let's not just say, no, I can't, and then not be able to follow through on that. So has taken practice. And
It does. It does take practice because we've been so well groomed without even being aware of
Mhm.
it from, I always feel that school was the worst.
Mm,
And it can happen in the home environment as well from the time dot. But for me, the home environment was
mm,
much better. And I come from, a generation, I was born in the late 50s where women were expected to have a different role.
mm,
And although we baby boomers get such a hard time saying that we ruined it and do, I hear so many people say that. And I go, hang on a minute, I'm a baby boomer. And no, we actually did a lot of good for everybody. So as we were talking, Diana, some things have come up for both of us about what can women do? And you said something really great. So I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about it because we can talk about tips and rituals.
yes, thank you for that. Something that had come to mind in the season of growth and changing is when that the art would say maybe the power without armor is what's coming to my mind. Uh,
Mhm.
Shifting through the change and using the anger and the fear as the driving force for the breakthrough and discovering what needs to change, what needs to burn and what actually needs to be protected in our next season. When that strength, that resilience, some of that, a lot of it should be carried with us because that is powerful for us women. Uh, but in the same sense, where do we need to soften?
Yes. And also, the other thing that came to me is because I was very driven through my trauma and experiences in different areas of my life. And that was, I thought that's when I became my warrior woman. However, she was always there. It's just that she came out in a very disempowered way because of a lack of self-worth and self-love. And I've talked about this many times because that was my own experience.
Mm.
And what we want is to wear that armor with self-empowerment, know that we are enough, know that we are worthy, love ourselves madly, deeply, and unapologetically, rather than sinking into and staying in that muddy place, which actually has its purpose.
Mm.
It's
Yes.
about thinking of the lotus, the flower, the lotus in the pond where she starts in the muddy waters and then she
Yes.
begins to form and grow until she blossoms and then comes into full bloom. And what we don't want to do is stay in that muddy water without looking at the opportunities for growth. And what have I learned from this? What is the power I can bring back to myself for this and inspire other women and even men, inspire men and
Mm.
it's actually, I'm just seeing that vision in my head, and it's really beautiful to think of that as being that lotus flower. And there's nothing wrong with being in the muddy waters, in the shadow, like really delving into that part of ourselves, because that's where our power lies, I believe, for myself. And if you can't do it on your own, get help with the right people that can inspire you, support you in a really empowering way. We don't need anybody to fix us. We need to own who we are, the shit that we've been through, and turn that into our armor, our
Absolutely.
tools. Mm,
Absolutely.
I
And
love.
it's important to be able to honor the strength for so long. That anger I carried forward with me. I remember saying, I don't want to be angry anymore.
Mhm,
I don't want to have this hardness. But in actuality, I look back, having a mother who was very, how did I say, it? She was very stern in her ways. She raised three daughters and we
mhm,
traveled a lot. And now I look back and I think that she was like trying to gather all of her ducklings. So she was very assertive in her discipline and wanting to do all the right things. She did the best with what she knew at the
mhm,
time.
mhm.
And growing up, I remember thinking, I'll never be like this, or I'll never be like that. And I'll never. And one day I looked in the mirror and I said, oh my gosh, I am so much like her.
Yep.
The strength, the resilience, the stubbornness,
Mhm.
so much of everything that I said I didn't want. I am so grateful that I have that. And it
Yes.
took me a long time to actually step into that. So, with that, I want to say to the people who are listening that your strength can continue to carry you forward. Some of
Yeah.
that should be part of your armor, but
Yes.
it doesn't have to be always anger in a sense, just
Mm.
more resilience and a strong stance in a sense.
Yes. And also, I want to say that our armor is our protection. It doesn't close us off.
Mm. Mhm.
which for me, I can only speak for myself, is important to me, not to close myself off because I did that. And it's okay to be angry. It is, in fact, it's very healthy. It's how we disperse it, how we use it, and that it's important not to sit in it so that we become very resentful and quite
Mm.
ugly sometimes because we don't know how to handle it. And again, that's where having someone to support you or see you or talk with. Communication is such a big thing. And and know that it's not bad to be angry. Oh gosh, I just keep thinking, it's flashing in my mind how many times I was told to shut up because I had something to say in my relationships and not to
Mhm.
be argumentative. And I wasn't. I had something to say that was very valid. And I used to say, "What? So you can say things to me, but it's not okay for me to respond when I've got something to respond with." So, and it's how that is delivered. Um, so these are things that it can't, like Diana, you said it before, and I know it takes practice. I've been doing this for decades.
Yes.
And each decade I feel that I get better, better and better, and that I'm stronger and stronger. And, I'm a five times Libra, and Libra are all about justice and balance and harmony. And, I actually have learnt that. I remember like 30 years ago when I started studying astrology, my astrology teacher said to me, "Oh, I think you're getting a helping hand on how to be, how to really take on board those Libran qualities." And I went, "Oh, okay." And that's where, for many, many, many years of my life, I was in that I wanted justice for people, but I didn't know how to deliver it. So it came
Mm.
from a very disempowered, angry, aggressive
Yes.
state. Whereas now it's, I I don't care what people think of me. Is and that it's okay for people to think that I'm not right, or well, maybe I shouldn't. She shouldn't have said that. That was a bit outspoken. That's
Mm.
okay for them to think that, as
Mm.
long as I'm being true to myself and my intention is always to not harm another.
Mm.
And so I feel that's what, is really important. What about some tips and rituals, Diana? Let's have a look at, I mean, we've spoken about what
Okay.
it's like to be there, and we've both experienced abuse and trauma and all those icky things which can take us down forever. We can be a victim
Yes.
or we can rise above it. I've done both. I have been a victim when I was very young and I didn't know how to to do it. And now I'm the phoenix and I keep rising, and sometimes I crash and burn, and that's okay. I just keep getting up
Hmm.
because I know that I'm stepping into another level. So, what have you, I've got some ideas in mind. Do you have
Okay.
anything that you'd like?
Well, anger has been a big topic, and I think that anger and fear was one of the things that kept me back and felt powerless for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, I've learned to readjust that, reframe it, and use anger as clarity, not chaos.
Mm,
What I mean by that is asking myself, why am I so angry about this? Why am I so frustrated? And it often comes back to how someone made me feel, how they responded to me, how they didn't behave in the same way that I would have behaved. I'm shocked or shook because this happened in this way, and then I hold on to all of that. So taking a step back to ask and bring awareness to why. am I feeling what I'm feeling in that moment and dismantle in that way and step outside of myself and imagine it from a different perspective rather than me staying harboring that anger and those feelings and understanding the lesson behind it versus just the emotion that I'm sitting with.
Mhm.
So I would say to address anger as clarity and awareness.
Yeah. And you, I absolutely hear you because often I will say, I will pause and reflect and I will ask myself, whoa, why, why do I feel triggered or why did I
Yes.
start to respond that way? And I've learned to hold myself. There are times when I haven't been able to, and recent times where I've had a bit of bullying going on, and
Yes.
I am a bit fearless. So I also think there are times to step into those warrior Xena shoes and stand up
Mhm.
for yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, and again, that's about discernment and choice. Because I truly believe that we know the answers. We know everything that we need to know. And I say, you talked about, asking yourself, why, so that why you felt the way you did, or people have come and made comments about it. I get that too, because I am quite outspoken.
Mhm.
Um, and I ask myself, and I go, what is it that I need to learn? I have these questions, and they don't always come straight away, but they do come.
Yes, they do
Sometimes
come.
at the most inconvenient places and times. And it's like, why did I feel so triggered about that? What is it that I can learn from this? And what are my next steps? And I find for myself that very powerful because it brings me into that pause
Mhm.
and I can reflect because the answers are there. And and again I emphasize there are times when we need to step into our warrior boots and put on our armor and be fierce and unapologetic and be
Yes,
fearless. So again, I keep saying it, discerning keeps popping into my mind.
absolutely.
Choice.
There's a, I believe, absolutely believe that there, there are things worth fighting for, and
Mm,
there are other
mm.
things not worth thinking about, much less fighting for. And that's the questions that we have to ask ourselves. And it's hardest in that moment because when you're angry and you're fired up, or maybe I'm just speaking about myself, I want to say what's on my mind.
Mhm.
And I've also had to practice not saying everything that's on my mind because it is a ripple effect. I know very
Yes.
well that I'm going to say something and they're going to say something back, and it will continue to grow and conversation explodes. So I almost often have to play uh, fortune teller or read the future and think, is this a conversation? What am I fighting for? Is
Mm.
this a conversation or fight that I want to have? And in the end, if I win this, what am I fighting for? Is it worth the conversation to have? And oftentimes I think I could have this conversation and I could win this conversation, but I actually not really trying to gain anything in this instance. So I don't think that it would even is necessary to travel down that path. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit of a mind maze.
Is it conducive to
Mm,
what we want to achieve coming from a good place? And as you were saying that, yeah, it is really important. I've just forgotten what I was going to say, which is not uncommon.
mhm.
Um, so with that, there are things that we can do. Um, and one of the things, and I have trained myself for over 30 years now for this. And I know last year I slipped because last year was a big year for many people. It was so tough. I know I went through very, very tough year, and I know many other people did too. And I could feel myself slipping back. I felt my power, my personal power slipping at times. And I wasn't used to it either. So it was a bit of like, what's going on? And in the end, I needed to surrender to it because I really believe that which we resist will always persist,
Yes,
vice versa,
yes.
and make some choices like with myself. What is my life all about? And my life is about having joy in it, doing things more for myself now.
Absolutely.
I'm tired of being resilient. I am a very resilient woman, but then I found myself saying, "But I don't want to be that all of the time. I don't want to have to keep fighting all the time." And when I say fighting, I mean within myself, holding my strength, holding my resilience, being diplomatic, and in certain situations. And I'm grateful that I've got many tools. I'll look to the transits in my astrology chart and get aha
Hmm.
moments, which helps me to pause.
Yes.
I will use my essential oils, and I'm very big on affirmations because they have helped change my life because I've worked on my mindset. And a lot of people feel that affirmations don't work. They do if we're consistent with them. And of course, using another tool that can help to anchor them, like I do with essential oils, it helps to anchor them in the limbic brain.
Yes.
And, other people have different tools that they can use. And that self-awareness, it's like accepting that we are mere mortals,
Hmm.
even
Yes.
though I'm a witch and a powerful woman.
Hmm.
We are mere mortals, and we make mistakes and we go forward and sometimes I used to feel like it was one step forward, two steps back. When we train ourselves to recognize the words that we speak is one of the most important, I
Yes.
think, and know that we can reframe that. I even talk to my limbic brain. If I hear awful thoughts, self-talk, or feeling like I'm judging something that doesn't really deserve to be judged, I'm going, where is this coming from? What, and I'll talk to myself about it. I'll have a
Hmm.
conversation, and I feel it's important not to suppress because if we suppress our thoughts, feelings, and words, then they can get stuck somewhere in
Yes.
our body. And I'm not saying that we have to blurt them out at that time, but be conscious of how we responded, what we wanted to say, but knew better, and then work with that at another time. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Part of what I'm hearing in that, there's so many different ways on how to shift, and it's about discovering how to change the channel
Mm,
and get out of it when you feel triggered. Looking for ways, and maybe if you're someone starting new on trying to get out of feeling sadness or anger or fear, frustration, ADHD, I think is a big part. I wouldn't say that I'm diagnosed with ADHD, but I was hyper focused and hyper fixated when I didn't want to deal with my emotions. So I kept
mm,
busy. So when I finally allowed myself to feel it, I recognized, yes, I feel sad today. Yes, I'm not in the best mood. But also recognizing, you know what will put me in a good mood? Music,
mm-hmm,
dancing, going for a walk,
mm-hmm,
being in the garden. So finding rituals or creating new habits. And when you are feeling in that stuck in the mud, so to speak, the lotus wants to bloom, get some
mm,
sunshine or have your go-to things. that will lift you up and pull you out of that. And I
Mm.
know honestly, it can take some time, people might say, and I've been there, oh,
Hmm.
that's foolish. I'm still angry. Well, you can still be angry, but if you
Yeah.
shift your mind, eventually the anger starts to dissipate and you feel less angry. And each time you address it in that new way, you find yourself taking better care of yourself, doing the things that you enjoy, and shifting your focus onto something that you want to do and pour love into yourself. And then it starts to fade away in a sense. And it may,
Yeah.
and not to say that it makes your problems go away,
No.
but it helps you discover a new solution to it.
And tapping into that feeling good and the joy that those other mini rituals that we can do. I call them rituals. They're habits. They're things that we do every day and become unconscious of. So it's perhaps learning to be more conscious, like stepping into the garden, talking to your plants. When you're watering your plants, like think of that growth as being yourself. For the new year, I planted beans and I
Hmm.
infused my 2026 intentions into them, and they're growing now beautifully. And it's like I'll be eating them in no time. And so I'm fully embodying them in that way, and smelling an essential oil or choosing a word that really fully aligns to you. All these things that so many people talk about and recommend, and it can be like, oh, not another thing to do. I get it. It's keeping it simple and doable
Mm, yes.
and stepping outside. Like I'm a moon and stargazer. When the full moon comes up and I can see her from my place, I always step outside and I just gaze up to her and I love it and I feel invigorated by it. For some, it's the sun, smelling a perfumed flower, just seeing the
Yes.
beauty around us and within us. So I actually saw a post on school, might have been last night. Share three things that you love about yourself. And I could have gone on with a big list because I've learned
Hmm.
to love myself because I never used to. And so perhaps that's a beautiful thing to do.
Yes.
You know, you love your lips, you love your eyes, you love the way you speak, you love your hair, you love your compassion, your kindness, and your anger can be healthy and it's okay. Like you love that you can say no, like there's so many things. And when you start doing these little exercises or rituals, your vibration, your energy shifts and
Yes,
you feel better.
you do. You do feel
Feel
better.
better.
I'm not sure which universal law that I discovered this from. Maybe the law of relativity, or it could be yin and yang contrast, even when it comes to our feelings. And earlier you mentioned choice. Every
Mm,
day it is a choice. It's our feelings. I learned this. It's almost like we have our feelings, and happiness and sadness aren't separate. They're just two sides of the same coin.
mm,
So every day we can wake up and make the choice to be happy, or we can make the choice to be sad or upset. And in the same thing goes for any situation. Something that may trigger you and make you mad, it's a choice that you allow it to disrupt your emotions. Or you can make the choice to say, you know what? That didn't make me very happy, but I'm going to choose to walk away and I'm going to go listen to some music. I'm going to go stir
mm.
up something nice in the kitchen for myself. I'm going to go to the spa. And it's a choice to choose you every single day.
And you said a key point there too. It's not about suppressing it, it's acknowledging it,
Mhm.
then make a choice on how you're going to get through your day. And it's like, okay, I feel awful. I don't feel like doing what I need to do today or what I want to do today. And perhaps peel it back a little bit as well and just do one thing.
Yes.
And you've achieved one thing, and you'll feel better for that, and that will motivate you and inspire you. And don't be hard on yourself.
Yes. We
Be
also need
kind.
to honor rest.
Yes. And sometimes, like, I love it when I wake up and I think, oh, I love life, it's and I feel myself smile. And there are times I wake up and I go, oh, I just don't want to get out of bed right now. Or it might be, I really want to go to dance. And I have to just chant to myself, just get up and go, Julie. Just get up and go because you know you're going to feel better afterwards.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
look at the outcome of what it is and never regret it. Not with dancing or art or
Yes.
mm,
I
those
agree.
things that feed our soul, nourish us.
I
Mm.
agree.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like we've completed this, Diana. Otherwise, I know for me, I'll keep repeating myself over and over
Mhm.
again. But this was so lovely to talk to you
So
again.
lovely to talk to you too.
And I
I
think,
also learned something, great reminders for myself too,
mm,
that to continue to rise and push through those emotions and those triggers. It's always
yeah,
nice to, even when we feel, I feel like we are ever evolving. There's
absolutely.
always room to grow and to learn and to be reminded to love yourself, love yourself.
Yes, love yourself up. If we can't love ourselves, how can other people love us? See
Yeah.
the beauty in ourselves. What are all those beautiful, luscious things that we can emanate out into the world to help bring joy and make the world a better place? Feel the joy, feel the love. And on that note, my lovelies, I will say goodbye and know that you will be able to check the show notes to connect in with Diana. We're both on school. You must come and join our school communities. What's yours, Diana? Give it a boost.
My group is called the Creative Collective. It's for conscious creators.
Mm. And mine, of course, is Rich Witch Magic. Everything is Rich Witch, so it's pretty easy to find me. So until next time, to our beautiful audience, may you always be in magical bliss and bring joy into your world every day, even the tiniest amounts. Thank you for joining us on the enchanting journey through the realms of magic, mystique, and self discovery. I hope you enjoyed our time together on the Rich Witch podcast, where we delve into the depths of witchcraft, astrology, and the unapologetic rise of women. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And as we wrap up, I encourage you to carry the wisdom and magic we've shared into your own life. Embrace the power within you and revel in the beauty of your own unique journey. Stay tuned for more magic, and in the meantime, stay curious and know your magic is a gift to the world. Blessed be, beautiful ones, and remember, the magic is always within you. This is Julie Nelson, signing off.